Many parents describe the same confusing pattern. At first, their teen stops talking. Then they begin spending more and more time in their room. And sometimes it escalates into something even more frightening. They refuse to go to school. At first, these behaviors look like separate problems. Silence, withdrawal, school refusal. But very often, they are part of the same story. And when parents begin to understand what is happening underneath these behaviors, something important starts to change, not just in the teen, but in how we respond to them. One of the painful moments for parents is when your teen suddenly stops talking to you, not arguing, not explaining, just silence. They avoid eye contact, and when they sense you coming, they quietly disappear into their room. And you left there, standing there, with things you wanted to say, but never get to say. That creates a lot of tension because you care, you want to help, you want to talk things through. But suddenly, there is this invisible distance between you and your child. And many parents begin asking themselves, why doesn't my teen want to talk to me anymore? But sometimes silence isn't rejection, it's protections. When teens feel overwhelmed, ashamed, or misunderstood, talking can begin to feel risky. And when talking feels risky, silence becomes safer. But silence is often just the beginning, because when a teen stops talking, something else often follows. I remember when my daughter went through a very anxious period. School felt overwhelming, tuition felt overwhelming, and even when I tried to get advice, because I genuinely wanted to help, she experienced it as pressure, not support, pressure. Every conversation seemed to remind her of what she was struggling with. And slowly, something shifted. Even home didn't feel completely safe anymore. Not because we were unkind, but because every interaction begins to feel like another expectations, another problem to solve, another reminder that she was failing behind. Eventually, the only places that felt safe were her room and her screen. And that is when many parents begin noticing the next change. Many parents tell me the same thing. My teen never leaves their room anymore. School, room, phone, door closed. And you're left wondering, what happened? Deep down, many parents sense something isn't right. But when we don't understand what's happening, our mind starts filling in the blanks. Maybe they are lazy. Maybe they are addicted to screens. Maybe they just don't care about family anymore. But those are interpretations, not always the truth. Because sometimes the room becomes the only place a teen feels safe. Outside that room, everything may feel overwhelming. School pressure, social comparison, bullying, or the quiet fear that they are failing behind. My daughter used to do well in primary school, but when she entered secondary school, something changed. Suddenly, she felt like she was barely surviving. And when a teen who felt once capable starts feeling like they are failing, their identity begins to shake. They begin questioning who they are. And when identity begins to collapse, retreat becomes regulation. The room becomes the only place their nervous systems can finally breathe. So the real question isn't, how do I get my teen out of their room? the deeper questions become, what are they trying to recover from? Because sometimes what looks like withdrawal is actually emotional overwhelm. And when that overwhelm continues to build, it can eventually lead to something even more worrying. When a teen refuses to go to school, most parents immediately feel panic because education matters. And every parent knows skipping school cannot become a habit. So even when parents sense something is wrong, the response often becomes more pressure, more lectures, more consequences. Advice like, just ignore the bully, study harder, you just need to push through. But very often, this approach makes everything worse. Because school refusal is rarely about laziness, and it's rarely rebellion. More often, it is nervous system overwhelm. A teen may feel socially unsafe, academically incapable, constantly judged. And when the nervous system feels trapped like that, avoidance becomes relief. Refusing school may simply be the nervous system saying, I cannot handle this right now. So instead of asking only, how do I make my teen go to school? It can help to ask 3 different questions. Do they feel safe? Is there bullying, humiliation, or social rejection happening? Do they feel capable? Are they failing behind academically and starting to believe they cannot catch up? And do they feel seen? Do they feel misunderstood, pressured, or alone in what they are struggling with? Because when a teen feels unsafe, incapable, and unseen, their nervous system may choose the only strategy it has left: avoidance. And that can look like school refusal. Once parents begin to see what is happening underneath the behavior, something important shifts. The goal is no longer simply forcing the teen back to school. The real work becomes helping them feel safe enough to face the world again. And when the nervous system begins to settle, behavior that once looked like defiance often begins to change. Sometimes teens don't withdraw because they don't care. Sometimes they withdraw because they are overwhelmed. And the moment parents begin to understand what the behavior is protecting, the entire relationship can begin to shift.